I guess we are live. Oh, sorry, microphone. Let me tighten you up, buddy. Okay. All right. Welcome to another virtual happy hour coming from you from historic downtown Cryo, Texas, not at the Hardwood. I want to say thanks for being here yet again. A little bit different layout than our typical Friday. I'm a little short-handed. Morgan, a.k.a. Morgan the Grouch, couldn't be here today. So just doing something a little different, just change of pace. Tried it out yesterday, try to work some kinks out with this. And so we're just going to do some tastings. And you guys ask as many questions as you can about bartending and how to build a back bar, anything like that, and I will give you my best answers possible. Again, thanks to Ranch House Spirits for fueling yet another virtual happy hour. Couldn't do it without them. And yeah, so again, doing something a little bit different. I want to do more tastings. I've been working on this podcast that's like strictly about tastings, and I just figured this is a really great way to introduce to my Friday regulars that I'm doing it. And that podcast, as you probably all know because I keep on talking about it, it's a Spirits Guide with Doug Blank, available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and Stitcher. And with that said, I am changed the bit rates on the camera, and I'm still using my program, so it does drop frames. I don't know how to fix that. If anybody knows how to fix that or knows the best way to handle something like that, please send me a message or even leave a comment. And, you know, any points, tips are appreciated when it comes to that, because the smoother we can make this, the better for everybody involved. The reason that we kind of sacrificed the camera footage for audio. And I'd rather have the audio because I believe the audio stays consistent the entire time. So if you see me kind of freezing, or if it goes to black, or if it's pausing up, stick with it, because I'm going to keep talking, and I'm not really going to keep my eye on the live monitor as much as I want. But I am going to make sure that I'm reading all your comments and stuff right here. So bear with me. We'll do it together. We're in this together. Oh, you know what I forgot? Lighten the candle. Whoa. Don't mind me. Okay. That was it's pretty intense. I'm not a pyro by any means, but whenever I end up with like fireworks and things like that, I tend to get quite excited. I don't know if that's something I should just say, but I don't know. They're legal, aren't they? And if you buy fireworks, are they legal just one time a year, 2 times a year, or are they legal year round, but you're only allowed to buy them? I don't know. I'm not a firefighter. Shout out to my mom for watching. Hey, Mom, you're my #1 fan. So I've been drinking a lot of beer lately just because my alcohol intake seems to be quite high at times. So, you know, but yeah, so the beer I'm going to be drinking today is another Carbach. Everyone I've tried, even the ones that were lackluster simply because I bought the wrong type, have been great. And I had one earlier today. I went for a bike ride today. I rode 10 miles, 15 mile an hour pace. Pretty good cadence. Still hurts. Still 30 pounds overweight. So, you know, getting out there, pushing those pedals, and it's really cool. I love riding my bike. For those who know me, when I was younger, I used to ride my bike all the time. I used to ride like 30 miles every day, 50 miles every Saturday. I used to ride to work in Victoria and then stay the night with friends and then ride home the next day or whatever my schedule would be. But it's extremely therapeutic. It's like for a guy like me that my gear's always running and stuff, it gets really it's really good for me. Like, and it's weird because like you get in these like really deep crevices of thought and like things like, you know, the ugliness, the things that you don't typically people say they don't like about themselves. So you have to confront those emotions because you're really working it out. And then next thing you know, when you get off your bike, you might be a little woeful or, you know, it's like, but next thing you know, like all those endorphins hit and it's it's the most rewarding feeling ever. And it's something that I am trying to bring back into my schedule. I've been more consistent about riding my bike than I ever have been. And for those who know about me riding my bike, like Joel, I heard, hey, welcome to the show, Joel. Hey, I heard that you were born with a full set of adult teeth. Is that true? Get back to me on that. And Joel, the guy in the comments, he's a ruckus. He's a hot to handle. He's a spicy boy, if you will. Makes a lot of people irritated. But he's a brother to me, and I love him. He's my best friend. And we also have a podcast called I Didn't See It, But I Believe You, available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and Stitcher as well. And if you really like terrible content and really want to be pissed off the rest of your day, I highly recommend listening to that one. But if you just enjoy yourself or your friends and your family and just being alive, I wouldn't listen to it. It's true. Joel was born with a full set of adult teeth. Well, I guess technically we all are, but I meant I heard that they were grown. Uh-oh. This thing doesn't scroll. Hey, guys. So happy y'all are tuning in. So Ranch House, I just went over to Ranch House, talked to Corey, my man, and got some talk about a bottle that we can pull off the shelf that you can find at Ranch House Spirits over at 202 East Broadway, Cuero, Texas, 77954. And I noticed that their bourbon and whiskey selection right now, it's always strong. It always is. But right now, it's even stronger than I anticipated. And they even have some really beautiful bottles in there. I noticed they had a Weller 12-year and they had the Weller Overproof. And for those that know about Weller and know things like Pappy Van Winkle and the whole Buffalo Trace distillery, those are really great finds. But you got to spend a pretty penny on it. So, I mean, if you want something to add to your collection and you have the money right now to do so, go over there and check it out. But something that's quite affordable, definitely above the $50 mark, but it's something that should last you a long time. Texas-made Balcones Texas single malt whiskey from a pot still. This is something I am somewhat familiar with. I'm familiar with this distillery very much so because one of the places I worked up in Austin, we sported this brand like no other. This is obviously a premier Texas distillate. And this is a really good example from what we always talk about when it comes to MGP and stuff. If y'all don't remember me talking about MGP, if you check out the podcast about bourbon, we go over that. MGP is a giant distillery in Indiana that makes a tremendous amount of Nutri-Grain alcohol. And so as a source, and places like Nine Banded Bourbon, or even I don't know if Tito's does, but I don't think Tito's distills there on site. Anyways, and some other Texas brands, probably TX, and maybe, I don't know where, I've never been to Garrison Brothers. I don't know if they have actual stills. I know Whistle Pig out of Vermont is one of the most notable distilleries whiskeys out there. It's really great. They get their starter liquids, they get their neutral grains spirits from this place and they send it down to these small distilleries, if you will, and then they take it from there and they barrel it, because making alcohol is very dangerous. It's very expensive. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with starting off with your own still, but you got to stack that change, get to the point where you can get your own still. But in time being, you start making your own whiskeys and blending your own and aging your own rick houses, which is another way to say warehouse, essentially a warehouse that stores barrels of alcohol. And again, that's very dangerous. I don't know if you remember the whole entire collapse of the rick houses that was going on last year and the burnings of the rick houses. I mean, alcohol is fuel. It literally fuels fire. Like overproof rums and overproof boozes set on fire. It's highly dangerous. So keep that in mind when you're saying it. So when you hear me talk about a booze that is distilled or the distillate comes from another place than the actual property, it's not a bad thing by any means. But this is actually distilled on premise. This is distilled out of Waco. And Balcones is something that if you're a Texan, you're familiar with the name. There's a Balcones Street in Austin. I guess it's named after the Balcones fault line, which is named after probably somebody that has something to do with Texas history. If you know, please leave a comment. So this is, there's like a really great story that comes with this as well. But I don't know if y'all have ever heard me talk about pot stills, but pot still really tells me that this is going to have a tremendous amount of flavors and esters that are left over, and esters being pretty much an acid that attaches itself to ethanol, to the alcohol, which gives it a tremendous amount of flavor, which a lot of people back in the day would say would actually cause hangovers. So when you see like people that love vodka and things like that, or like, you know, they say that it has less of a hangover because they distill it so much, it gets rid of those esters. And so that's why sometimes you'll see 6 times distilled vodka and it has absolutely no flavor, but just the actual alcohol burn. But there's times and places for that. That's important. So yeah, but anyway, so let's back to this. This is a single malt. Single malt pretty much means that it is, typically it means it is just one malt and it's made in one distillery and sourced. So I know that in Scotch, it means it's sourced from one place and it's made in one distillery. So I'd imagine that's what it means in America as well. I don't know where they source their malt from. Maybe it says on the back of here. But I love malt in my alcohols. I really think that it really applies to the mouthfeel. I think that malt in, yeah, I think that it applies to the mouthfeel. Like if you think about like malt candies and things like that, the way they kind of coat your mouth. Like, I feel like it has something to do with that, with the mouthfeel, but it could just me being in my own head. So it's All right, so let's do a little bit of like a half ounce pour. This is a 53% alcohol, so that's 106 proof. So this is going to have what I always refer to as some heat to it. This glass is called a Glencairn. If you ever hear me talk about it, this is what it is. This glass is designed for trying liquor and whiskeys in particular, scotches and bourbons and Irish whiskeys and everything whiskey. But you know, you try, if you want to try a gin, if you want to try a rum, get yourself one of these. They're available at Ranch House Spirit as well. And liqueurs, I know a lot of liqueurs are drank out of this. So an idea, a glass will tell you how to drink. So like, it's like, you know, you can't, it's not like a tumbler, so you can't just shove your whole face in there. So it's like, it's either your mouth or your nose. Excuse me, I am a sweaty boy, sweaty dude. But it's 101 degrees out there. So, yeah, I know. I wish I could smell this for sure. So, it has really doesn't have that alcohol burn that I'm familiar with, like overproof anythings. It has definitely, it's fruity. It has a lot of fruit going on. It has some spice for sure, which you find in a whiskey, a typical whiskey, especially a well-made whiskey. Definitely you can tell it's been, I don't know how long it was aged, but it definitely has been sat in a barrel for a bit. This is, there's the date, handwritten date from July 30th, 2019, small batch. I don't know what the barrel is on this. Yeah, but this is actually pretty mellow for an overproof for sure. Those high alcohol, they're lush. There's a lot of it is hot. They're super lush. So it's like that creaminess out that from the malt, and obviously the alcohol content play a big part. Spicy, almost like a rye on this one, but that could be with the actual alcohol content. Super toasty, which is really nice. And if you guys need to know what malt tastes like, I mean, if you ever had like a chocolate malt or something like that, it's definitely in there, or like malt powder. But if you just go get like a Whopper, not the burger, the actual candy, and you just like crack it open and try the inside, that's what you're like pretty much looking for. Yeah, that's like that whole entire experience for sure. And then malt, like the way that malting happens is like they throw the malt out, and and then they let it germinate. And so what's happening is the endosperm is starting to eat the actual malt, and it's converting all the starch into sugar. And what they do, especially in Scotch, is that they'll stop the malting process by adding a tremendous amount of smoke to the room. And that's where a lot of the smokiness comes through from the peat in Scotch. And that's how they stop it, because they do not want they don't want it to actually become a plant. They just want it to kind of sprout, do its little thing. You know, when you're a little kid and you put the bean in the, or the seed in the paper towel, and it just turns into a little plant right there. It's like that, essentially, but on a grander scale. And they kill it just so they kill the process or stop the process, because they don't want it to turn into an actual malt plant. They want to make sure that because what's happening is that endosperm converts the starch into sugar, and that sugar feeds the plant to grow into a plant. So kind of like, a self-sustaining seed to plant to tree. So when you stop that, you have all that sugar. So when you actually start the fermentation process, and especially when you add the yeast is able to eat the sugar, convert it to alcohol, and then from there that you have a big weird beer. And then from there you take your beer and you distill it, and what you're getting is you're just you're just taking there's boiling points involved in this. The lower the boiling point, I believe that alcohol's boiling point is 126, and so like it has a lower boiling point, so it'll boil off before the actual rest of the liquor will, and it will condense, and it goes into the coils, and it cools back down, and that's just pure alcohol. Well, it probably has all those esters and stuff tied to it that we were mentioning, and then it drips off, and it cools down, and it comes back into like a liquid form and drips into a big thing. And that is very dangerous. And please, I hope that you didn't get lost in that whole description of that. Whew. Yeah, pretty good. I'm into it. Yeah, but it's pretty, it's hot, but it's definitely has, it's quite mellow. It definitely has a lot of fruit. Oh, I added some water in there to like kick back on that alcohol to see what else I can get out of it. Okay. All right. Thanks for the towel. Yeah. It's like real toasty. So yeah, I recommend go check this out. It's something that'll definitely last you for a little bit. This was aged at least 25 months in oak. There it is. All I had to do was just look down. Never chilled, filtered, or colored. I'm not too sure why chilled filtering is something you wouldn't claim. I guess I can look into that. Sweeter now. Has a lot more like carbon, if you will. Almost like a charcoal that's coming through. A lot of fruit. The fruit is like, it's like a spiced pear, apricots and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. I'm into it. I can dig. What's this thing say? Oh, the master distiller is Jared Hempstead. I knew that. Very cool. He has a big old beard. So, yeah, Texas created from start to finish. What is what? The bottle? Yeah, and if you take it out with some water, if you put that on ice, yeah, you're gonna lose a lot of the flavors because when it chills down, like you lose a lot of those like bold flavors. But this is so high in proof that you probably won't even notice, especially if you're new to. This is Balcones Texas single malt whiskey, distilled out of Waco, and it's available at Ranch House Spirits. So y'all should check it out. Okay. So, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and crack open this Karbach Blood Orange Radler. Let's see how this says. Radler, German for cyclist. Oh, Texan for damn refreshing. So it really is German for cyclist. I didn't know that. Whether you're riding in fixed gear, a skateboard, or a pogo stick, Okay. We're all adventure sinkers, and we're all looking for the ultimate post-ride brewski. Cool. Carback Rattler is a blend of blood orange and golden beer that is sure to quench your Texas-sized thirst. So wherever your next journey takes you, make sure you add plenty of Carback Rattler to the packing list. Cute. Stay vertical. Shaka bra, bro. Stay vertical. Clicky. Great sound. If you're into spiced rum, I mean, no, vastly different. It's all good. Sorry, I don't know what. Yeah, I'm sorry about it. This video is lagging out there for whoever's watching. I just really don't know how to fix that just yet, but I am going to look into it, especially for next week. If you're into spiced rums, I don't know. This is pretty high in proof. It's rum has a very different characteristic altogether, especially since it's made from a completely different crop, sugarcane or molasses to be particular, especially when it comes to spiced rums. It's going to be made from probably molasses base. There's a lot of spices actually added to it. This is more nuanced. So this might be a little extreme for the palate if you really just want to dive into a spice rum. But there's some really great spice rums out there. If you get into the rum world, you hear a lot of people. It's kind of a split. There's some people that really love spiced rum and think that it has its place, as I do. And there's also some people that think that rum has no business being spiced, or you shouldn't buy spiced rum. You should make your own, which is not the case. Not everybody has the time to spice their own rum. And honestly, I have made plenty of house spiced rums, and it's not as easy as you think. You have to pull some things sooner because the alcohol leaches too much, and you can make it bitter quickly. You have to, especially when it comes like ginger and things like that, you can really ruin your spices, or your spice blend or whatever. So just find a good company that makes a good spiced rum. Bounty from St. Lucia makes really good spiced rum. And if you can only get Captain Morgan, there's no shame in that. Yeah, so again, with the lagging and stuff like that, I hope that's something we can figure out down the road. But until then, just listen to the soothing tones of my voice. This beer is pretty good. It actually tastes like golden beer with blood orange. And for a day that is so freaking hot, I think this is a great choice. So give that a shot too. This is at HEB. I mean, Carbock's owned by Anheuser-Busch now, so they're everywhere. So this is something I wanted to try yesterday, but I was having issues with my computer. This is like one of my favorite bottles that we have at the Hardwood. This is Amaro della Sacra from Antica Torino. This is really cool. This has like been made in the south of France for centuries by a bunch of monks that take an oath of silence. This is a really cool label. It has like an actual monk on there with a golden Bible. And I believe in Latin that says something along the lines of silence is the voice of God, or I can't remember what I was told. But this, if you're familiar with like Fernet or even Jaeger in some ways, like this is going to be more like that, like a sweet bitter. That's what Amaro really is. And Amaro hails from Italy. To be called Amaro, it technically has to be from Italy, but they don't have something that we refer to as an AOC. So I'm not sure if that's actually like crucial. I think that you can. I've had a really great pineapple Amaro I love using, especially in one of my favorite drinks that I make, and that's made in America. So I guess that's really not that strict of a tell. So this is also available at Ranch House Spirits. So everything on the table today is all available over there. So make sure if there's anything that you have questions about that you see I'm trying, and you just don't want to pull the trigger and go buy it yet, just again ask away, or just send me a DM or a message, or just leave a comment later, and I'll help you out. And I just want to make sure that you're making the right choice, because a lot of people are scared to spend money on alcohol because they don't want to be stuck with a bottle they don't like. And then a lot of the times people end up getting something that they think they like, and it's really not quality, and they could have spent less money for a quality bottle. And I'm not here to call out like bottles and stuff like that. I'm just here just to give you better suggestions. I am sweating. So this is like a very Christmas forward smell, if you will, nose. It is like, it's definitely, you can tell that it's bitter just from smelling it, but it has like things I don't even know how to describe. There's like chamomile, there's like sarsaparilla going on in there. It has like even like mint. It has a lot of mint actually. And like tarragon. It has, I mean, there's probably 100 herbs and barks and stuff. Like you can tell that they even use barks and stuff in here. I know they get them from all over the world and sent over there to create this. Like probably even peppers. They probably use flowers and stuff as well. So again, you can tell that's going to be bitter. But the thing is, when you refer to bitter in the industry, I am so sorry for being so sweaty today. I think my mom would be proud that I'm actually using a towel to wipe my face. When you hear the word, when you talk about bitter in the industry, you don't necessarily call it bitter. You would probably refer to it as sharp, and sharp meaning the bitterness, because a lot of people get bitter, think if it's bitter, it can't be sweet. And that is not the case whatsoever. Most bitters or bitter liqueurs are very sweet. They just like have that bitterness to go like right with it. And if you take, and these are high proof in alcohol, so like typically, and so like yeah, they add their sugars as they dilute it and add a tremendous amount of sugar to it just to get to that point. This is really good for your tummy. You can't say that it has medical properties, but you know, this is what medicine used to be. And all those herbs and things like that, they probably put all that sweetness in there to make it shelf stable or to help out with the shelf life, but also to make sure that people will drink it to make them feel better and healthier, you know. And that's actually where the whole entire term spirit comes from, or what I've gathered is they would find herbs and plants and they would notice that they are helping people out feel better and in some cases get people back onto their feet that were like bedridden. And so these plants would only grow one time of the year, and they couldn't figure out how to preserve them or grow them in the winter or whatever. So they actually came up with distillation, and they refer to them as spirits. Like what we're having spirits is because they say that they were pulling the actual spirit out of the crop that they were using for healing properties, and that spirit, they captured the spirit, the essence of it, so they can use it anytime. And then they can make tinctures and medicines and high proofs and stuff like that, so they can get a bunch of different ingredients into a small bottle, so they could help out their community with that type of medicine. It's, some places still consider it like a medicine for sure. Yeah. Yeah, like a lot of old wives' tales and stuff like that. You know, we're from South Texas. I'm sure somebody's grandma or grandpa out there, when they were teething, gave them a rag soaked in whiskey out there. I know y'all are out there. Not mine, but I'm sure some did. Yeah, so that's good. It's a little pricey. This is about $40 to $50, but it lasts a while. You're not going to drink a whole bottle of that in a night. And if you are, wow, you're going to have some stomach pains because there's a lot of sugar in there. Man, pretty weird sitting here alone without the pals. Kind of nice though. When I make the videos and stuff, I usually do them by myself. But now that I have this whole setup, it's not as bad. Let's see. So, something I was going to say about, building your back bar. So a lot of people ask me all the time, like if they're going to make a back bar at home, what would they need? They would need, and I just say, keep it simple. You want like a whiskey, you want a gin, you want a rum, and pretty much just that's really it. You just want to have like all the standards for at home, and you want to make sure that stays stocked. And then you can like litter in when you go, like you can litter in tomorrow, or you can litter in some liqueurs like dry curacao or even like Luxardo and stuff like that. You don't necessarily have to go and like if you like moving to a new place or if you have a party coming on, you don't have to buy $600 worth of alcohol to get started. Speaking of dry curacao, let's go ahead and dive into this. Let's clean this out. So yeah, just some clean water, some distilled or filtered water. Rinse your Glencairn when you're doing a bunch of tastings at home, so you don't have to keep on running to the sink. Doesn't take much. Dry curacao is a really cool story. It has a really cool story. Dry curacao comes from the island of Curacao, Dutch island, and they say that these are like essentially Valencia oranges were left on the island and they didn't grow very well in the sense that they weren't like juicy and sweet and a crop that they would take to keep eating while they go on their voyage. So they just kind of forgot about the place, and the people of Curacao realized that these bittered oranges had like a tremendous amount of oil in their peels and in the rinds, and so they started taking them and getting all the oils out and using them for all kinds of applications, and including making really great liqueurs. This is one of the most crucial ingredients for the well-known Mai Tai, the Mai Tai that I always talk to you guys about, one of my favorite drinks in the world. And the Mai Tai was created in 1944 by Victor Bergeron, better known as Trader Vic. And you can really do whatever you like when it comes to making a Mai Tai. There's really no rules, especially in the tiki realm. But when it comes down to it, you really want to make sure that you are using an orange element. And the original recipe, again, called for this, dry curacao. So if you want to make like a standard old school Mai Tai, that's one of the ingredients I recommend you would get. You would also need the orgeat that we always speak of, which is the almond syrup that we make in-house. And then you would need, obviously, freshly squeezed lime juice, and a really good Jamaican rum would be standard, but you can always feel free to blend your rums like we do here at the Hardwood. And with that said, but you don't necessarily have to have all those things. It's essentially a daiquiri variation. But to be a Mai Tai, well, I guess call it a Mai Tai, that's what you would need. Those are the standards, I would imagine, that run across the board. But if you want to make like a daiquiri or anything, essentially it's a daiquiri variation. So you just need a sugar, a lime, and a rum, and you have yourself a great daiquiri. And I was watching something on the internet the other day, and somebody mentioned that they had one too many daiquiris. And then somebody started picking on them, like, who drinks daiquiris? Just so you know, daiquiris is one of the most important cocktails, if not the most important cocktail out there. It is crucial to drinking history, and it is crucial to making sure that bartenders know what they're doing and know how to use ratios and know how to make the right drink for the right person. So if you don't know how to make a daiquiri, you need to learn, and especially if you're working behind the bar, and if you don't appreciate a daiquiri, you need to try your best to come around, because once you learn how to appreciate a daiquiri, the floodgates open. It just never stops. You have a great foundation, you have a great base to create more. You can use those ratios and just go anywhere you want with it, and then you just keep on tinkering, mess with your rums. You can switch it from a daiquiri to a whiskey sour. Technically, daiquiris are a type of sour, and then you could even switch up with gin and get yourself a gimlet, or which is like before there was daiquiris, there was gimlets, and that's this whole thing. Hey, yeah, strawberry daiquiris. There's nothing wrong with strawberry daiquiris as well. People always come into the hard one. They're like, "Can I get a strawberry daiquiri?" And when I would say no, it was simply that we didn't have the room for the ingredients. And if you want to try, people have this idea that a daiquiri needs to come out of a frozen machine. That's not the case either. Granted, if you go back to La Floridita, a lot of the daiquiris were iced daiquiris that were like whipped and blended, especially the ones that like the La Floridita number 3, or also known as the Hemingway, or the original version of it. But the thing is, you need to, in my opinion, you need to be able to drink a solid daiquiri that is double strained to a beautiful coupe, and they're meant to be drank quickly. They're not meant to be sipped on like just slowly. And and then from there, it's like, all right, now let's go to the strawberry daiquiri. We made a strawberry daiquiri on a couple episodes ago. We're on our frozen drinks, and it actually came out really well. And so I have nothing against anything like that. You'll catch me drinking them. If you see me out and about, I'll be drinking rum and cokes and strawberry daiquiris with the best of them. But at the Hardwood, we just really wanted to take it down to brass tacks and give somebody like a nice launch pad to, or like cleanse their mind or cleanse their mental palate, if you will, of where to or what we consider like, the old way of drinking and like build from there. And that way you're not getting like inundated with a bunch of sugars and stuff like that. What in the Bobby Boucher Voodoo Woman Phyllis is that all-seeing eye candle? Oh, this is a double action candle. Yeah, this is, if you were raised in South Texas as a Catholic, you've probably seen a couple of these candles around. It's just an Ojo candle. Make sure you ward off bad energy. Oh yeah, the dry curacao. So, of course, orange. And it is dry. So curacao orange is going to be bitter. This is very sweet, of course, but it's not going to be as sweet as a Grand Marnier or like a Grand Gala. Grand Gala is the cheapest of them, and it also has you can't see because of the green lights, of course, but it's clear, so it doesn't like turn your drinks orange. Definitely has an orange hue to it though, but it's just not as extreme. Yeah, you can drink that neat. It's really good. It's wonderful, actually. Actually, I bet you if you poured a little bit of this curacao into this beer, it'd be badass. Yeah, try that out. So get yourself some dry curacao or go get yourself some orange liqueur. Cointreau is also a really great way to go. Cointreau, Grand Gala, Grand Marnier. Grand Gala is the cheapest of them, but it still works. Or Combier, if you can find it. Combier you can find at Ranch House Spirits. Anyways, you add it to your beer. That's really nice, actually. But be careful, because then it'll turn into it can turn into a hot mess. Because you're just drinking liqueurs and beer now. I cannot believe how much I'm sweating. I know I keep on saying that, but I can't help it. Now that I think about it, there was a big ass fan in here when I walked in. I bet you my mom put it in here because she knew I was probably gonna complain how hot it is. But I had to unplug it, and it would have been essentially a big old fan just wisping away in here. So yeah, so for everybody watching or anybody that doesn't get to watch today, please spread the word. This is available on our YouTube channel at Doug Blank. Just go search Doug Blank on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Give us just watch all the videos. Tell us what you think. Leave a comment. Show us your support. We also use Venmo to help pay for everything that you see. Like when if anything breaks, like if our soundboard breaks, the mics or anything, or if our computer needs to be worked on, that's what the money that you tip us in the Venmo, that's pretty much what it goes to, and help us buy all the ingredients to make these drinks and to buy the beers and stuff like that. Ranch House Spirits, we couldn't do it without them. Again, thank you so much for always having our back and fueling these virtual happy hours, and make sure you guys show them some love. They're great. They're great over there, and they know what they're talking about, and they can help you out with any suggestions as well. So yeah, so please, your tips go a long way. They really do. So Venmo Doug Blank, I appreciate it. I would really appreciate you guys going to check out the podcast, Spirit Guide with Doug Blank, and that's on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and Stitcher. Have you tried the tequila that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson started making? We tried to find some, and it was sold out when my wife went to Oak Hill Liquor Store. I knew that he got into the spirit game, but I have not tried it. And matter of fact, I don't even know the name of it. I don't know the name of it. And that'd be a really cool happy hour to do. Tastings like celebrity branded spirits. I think that's a great idea, because I know The Rock is definitely in it. So is the fighter Jorge Masvidal. He's in Mezcal now, and then there's a lot more. George Clooney was one of the first to get into it. I think Danny DeVito has a limoncello. I know that Dan Aykroyd does Crystal Skull Vodka. Ryan Reynolds does Aviation Gin, which actually made a really big push in the whole bar scene for a while there. They probably still, I've seen a lot of wells, a lot of house selections. And then who else? I know that, there's a bunch more. Some of those ladies from Housewives did something like that. So go check all that out. And we can scrounge all that together and we can have a tasting with that and see what's the best of the best. Sometimes those are all just really good marketing schemes. Matthew McConaughey, that's what I was thinking of. He has a whiskey with Wild Turkey called Long Branch. But a lot of these things can be just marketing schemes. They just use the celebrities' names just to push out a product. Sometimes they'll have a bunch of distillate that they need to push out, and because it's taking up too much space and they can't just dump it because they have to pay taxes on it still sometimes. I don't know the rules to that necessarily. So sometimes they'll hire like a celebrity and do a huge marketing push on a mediocre distillate just so they can get it out there. And next thing you know, people love it and they're just still keep on making it. They'll change the recipes and you'll never even know. So you gotta be careful with that stuff sometimes. And that's not to say that none of them, that they're not all good. I know a lot of people that swear by Crystal Skull vodka. And if you listen to Dan Aykroyd talk about it, he is passionate about his vodka. He's also passionate about UFOs and stuff like that too. I don't know if y'all know that about Dan Aykroyd. He is deep into that stuff. And it's coming out. It's all true. All the Bible Czar stuff's true. Our government's telling us we have crafts here that were not made of this world, and nobody even cares because there's so much other stuff going on. People are like, I was just saying the other day, it's like, dude, did you hear that the government just straight up said that there's aircrafts that they have in their possession that were not made of this world? That is like, they just put that out for everybody. And they look at you and go, I can't believe they're making me wear a mask into HEB. It's like, oh my God, nobody even cares. So I do. I think it's amazing. I like that's something even as a little kid, just a world of wonder. And everything's so far out there, so vast. Right? We can't be alone, can we? And apparently we're not. But who's to say? So I was going to tell y'all that. And then, I want to try one of our rums. Everybody knows that I love Smith & Cross. So let's go ahead and try Smith & Cross. This is going to be available at Ranch House Spirits as well. I think I've already said everything here is pretty much available there. So I guess I love talking about them. So yeah, Ashley cares. Thanks, Ash. Lee. Okay, so Smith & Cross, this is cool. We're going to talk about a really great rum. Making a bunch of racket. Come on now. Oh, man, already. So, this is one of my favorite rums ever. This is a traditional Jamaican rum. This is navel strength. And so essentially what that means is that it's going to be 114 proof. And as you can tell, that's really, really strong. So with Smith & Cross, if you can see the color, it's a beautiful amber color. It's probably only been in a barrel for about 3 years. And typically barrels of rum that stay in for 3 years, they'll filter it even anyways to get a lot of those colors back out to make it like a white rum. And sometimes they'll label it as a gold rum. But this, chances are it's not even chances. They use something called dunder, which they get from their muck pits. And it's pretty much leftover molasses from the distillation process there at the bottom of the copper stills. And they'll add it back to the distillate. So it adds a bunch of what we referred to earlier as esters. Yeah, about esters. So, this is something that you would have a flavor profile of like years ago, and something that you would that are like our forefathers drank. This is the kind of rum that they would have. What we're familiar about with rum in America is essentially like a vanilla flavored vodka, and that is not the case. It is like they're full, robust, have a tremendous amount of flavor, like just like a lot of notes going on, and this is again a great example of that. So it definitely high in alcohol, but first thing, vanilla, butterscotch is definitely there. Butterscotch is something you find in a tremendous amount of Jamaican rums, and it's going to have a lot of baking spice, things that you would imagine. So baking spice, I mean like nutmeg, cinnamon, allspice, like ginger, like a ginger snap cookie or like a Christmas cookie, like a gingerbread cookie. That's like definitely in there, but it's like has a lot of molasses going on because that's what it's distilled from. It's funky, but a mild funk. And it's just quite robust. It's well-rounded for sure. So, tremendous amount of mouthfeel. A lot of toast that we were talking about earlier, like toasted nuts, macadamia nuts are all over the palate. Cashews. It's going to have a high fat content, so that's why we refer to it as chewy, and that's probably coming from the sugar. That's definitely coming from the sugars and the high alcohol content. So it just like washes over your mouth. It's super lush, and it just has like a nice spice going through the whole thing. This is really great in things like on the rocks or neat is the way I would drink it, or this with Coke. Like just making a rum and Coke with Smith & Cross, it's going to be one of the best rum and Cokes you ever had. Our Cuba Libre at the Hardwood is something really special to me. It's a daiquiri variation that I came up with that is designed to use Coca-Cola as an ingredient and not as a cover-up. So we actually have a video of that on the YouTube channel, so go check that out when you get a chance. And this is like one of the main parts. This is part of the blend is the Smith & Cross. And the only reason that we don't just use Smith & Cross for our Cuba Libre is because that would be a very, 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 very expensive Cuba Libre. Always like the flavor after taste. Yeah, that's what we refer to as the finish. And I guess I didn't talk about the finish on these. The finish on this is very long, meaning that it just sticks around a long time afterwards. And when you think of people that use cigars and stuff, if you smoke a cigar with this, like the cigars all coat your palate, and then when you have a sip of this rum, it will like strip all that away, and all those notes will just like switch around your mouth, kind of like a deglazing, if you will, for your tongue. Hey, James, welcome in, buddy. Yeah, and don't forget, if you missed out on this, you can always check it out on the YouTube page. I upload it the same night typically, or I get to it that weekend sometime. And so and next week is really exciting. Next week's our 20th episode. I have some big plans for it. That's so we're gonna be just doing some drinks, and the theme is gonna be up there. Have a big announcement for next week. So I'm just holding on to that. I'm working on some stuff just to make sure that's smooth when I tell you guys, and go head first into that. Start next week. Some new episodes to the podcast will be up next week as well. I really appreciate you guys sticking around with me. I always love it when y'all guys come by. And then also on my podcast, we're going to start reviewing some of my favorite books as well that I use for making drinks and getting inspired to make drinks. And if you guys have some time to go find one of these books, like you'll never go wrong with starting off with anything from Beach Bum Berry. He's based out of New Orleans. He is him and a few other guys are like, it's like a handful of guys that really, really brought back tiki and like saved it from extinction. It was almost there. And so that's a good one. And then I even have like some cool sake books I want to talk to y'all about. And then of course, some great tiki books as well. And then, that's just, each book deserves like, each book in the collection that has so much heart and soul put into it and just years to create. If just a tremendous amount of time to create them that you maybe talking about them on a live stream or a podcast it won't do it justice. But I mean, if it gets you guys interested in, trying them out and picking them up at home and practicing at home and becoming a better bartender for yourself, why not? Right? So yeah, a lot of stuff going on. Nothing's really changed when it comes to reopening. It's kind of still at a standstill. No news on that, but I have been working on a lot of stuff. And so hopefully, I'm optimistic, It's I was just thinking the other day about where I started and to where I am now. It's like I've come a long way, and not only just in career, but in heart, soul, mind, and spirit. And I look back at who I was and who I am now, and I am grateful I am who I am now and not who I was then. So and I hope everybody Appreciate that. Oh man, I miss y'all guys at the Hardwood too. I hope everybody notices that. I ran into somebody the other day and they're like just talking to me like when I was like about me when I was like 19 years old, and he was like, "Man, you're an arrogant dick." And so I'm like, "Dude, I am 35 and I don't even know what you're talking about." But he wasn't wrong. But you gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away. Know when to run. Who said that? Oh, thanks. Oh, man. So, dang, James. Good call, man. He's the drink that I'm doing next week is out of homage to one of the most popular drinks in Cuero. So it's going to start lagging, guys. So please stay with me. Listen to my voice. Don't hang up. Don't hang up. Because when it comes back, I'm going to tell y'all. Sorry that's messing up, guys. But next week, if y'all are listening, next week when I come back for the happy hour, we are going to do the Bramble. Probably the most popular cocktail that ever came out of the Hardwood. We only did it seasonally. We didn't even do it last year because of everything. This year because of the whole shutdown. But essentially, it's a blackberry cocktail that was made by Dick Bradsell, and we're going to talk in the 1980s, and that's what we're going to be doing next week. We're going to be doing the Bramble and really just diving into how much we love the Hardwood and how much we miss it, and just keeping the whole spirit alive. Come on, video. Being a butthead. I'm sorry, guys. Man, I can't believe that it's doing that. Can y'all see me? On my end, it says just having trouble. Man, I'm sorry, guys. I really feel bad that it's happening. I thought I could figure this out by now, but I guess I can't. So, Oh, okay. Well, no lag there. Okay, well, maybe I'm just... Cool. Well, thanks for telling me that, guys. Oh, Mom, you say yes. Okay. Well, I mean, it's hit or miss, so we'll just... I'll just keep on rolling. I got 9 more minutes. Thanks, Cody. Hey, Cody, what's up, dude? And thanks for the tip again, man. Cody's one of our, definitely one of our virtual regulars, guys. He's somebody that I appreciate being in my life, along with the rest of y'all. So what am I trying again? Let's see. Yeah, the Smith & Cross is a great Jamaican rum. And sorry I didn't give y'all too much pointers on the building the back bar, but yeah, when I was saying earlier, I was saying you definitely want a bourbon. Oh, God, the phone. You definitely want a bourbon. You want a rum. And then when you get to that stuff, like you don't want to necessarily, I mean, Bacardi, if that's all you can get, just get it. It's no big deal. If you like Jack Daniels, drink Jack Daniels. That's just not necessarily what I tend to grab for, but there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm sorry if the phone's going off. I forgot to take off the hook. But it wouldn't be a virtual happy hour unless something went wrong. And that's like my stuff's jacking up on my end. Phones are going off. Freaking sweating like a bandit. Oh, and shout out to my Uncle Ray. He's been popping up a lot on my feeds and stuff. I hope you're feeling better, and best of luck to you. I hope to see you soon, or see you, when all this stuff calms down, if it ever does. And to my grandma, she's trooping, man. My grandma up in New York, or excuse me, up in Providence, she's kicking butt and taking names up there. So I want to make sure that I send her some good vibes and send her my love as well. And so... go ahead and just do a little bit of a sign off. So guys, again, thank you so much. Please make sure to spread the word about next week. I'll do some promos and stuff to remind y'all. We're going to do the Bramble, and also I have a big announcement to make next week. And I think y'all would really appreciate what I have to say. And I look forward to getting these podcasts out there, getting some more content out there, and telling you more about my experience and some tastings and chatting and answering questions and all kinds of stuff. If you have any other questions, just send me a personal message, leave a comment, whatever you prefer. And I will help you out as best as I can. If there's one of these bottles that you're really interested in, again, Ranch House Spirits, and thank you to Ranch House Spirits for fueling another virtual happy hour. If you need more information than that, I'll help you out. If you're in a different town and you want to help finding one of these, I will help you out with that as well. So with that said, see you guys next week. It's your boy Doug, and couldn't do it without you guys. So take it easy, enjoy your weekend, and be safe. Take care of each other. Wear your mask, and don't be a butthead. Just be polite. Wear your mask.